All right, welcome to the Spooky Screen. It's been a while for all of our listeners. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to be reviewing the movie called Ringu or Ring, the Japanese version, which was the original film, which was directed by Hideo Nakata and was released in 1998, I believe. And then the US version was released, I think, in 2001 or 2000,
2000, yeah.
2001.
That sounds right.
Traumatizing experience for a young 12-year-old Steven. But we could talk about that later.
12-year-olds everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I want to introduce my fellow co-hosts, David, Noah, Nick, and Johnny. Thank you for being here. And we'll dive right into it. So you guys, thumbs up, thumbs down. Did you like Ring or did you not like it?
I'm blurry. The camera's mad at me. So yeah, I'm cursed. I just got cursed. Look at my blur.
Nice. Right.
And
Three, two,
two.
1. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, 3 thumbs up, 1 thumbs down. Johnny, why don't you kick us off and give us your thoughts on this movie? Why did you like Ring?
I like this movie.
Okay.
Oh, why? Thank you, Nick. That was well deserved. For a movie that is a horror, it's not very scary in the classic modern way, what that word means, but it was really clever the way it used sound and cinematography to be suspenseful and engaging and draw you into the plot. I actually think it made me really enjoy horror for what horror can do without all the distasteful things I don't like about horror. And I think that mattered for me because like I get a little tired of like the oversaturated evil gore, like dwelling on just real darkness. And this was just a story, and it had a darkness to it, but it was just a really well done story. The film is a good film, and I get why they did spin-offs in America, though those are much darker, I would say. And I think I like this one more.
Thanks, Johnny. Dave, what about you? Why did you like Ring?
So I liked the mystery thriller aspect of it. Like they have to try to solve this issue if it's even solvable. And I really liked.
Are you defining a mystery?
David, just
I'm defining a mystery.
Just keep.
I feel like you're defining a mystery for the audience.
And
You're not the back of the
problem.
DVD case,
And characters
David.
oh yeah,
have to solve it.
they have to solve it if they can solve it in 7 days. I tried to take away the American adaptation and just watch the original Japanese version, and I don't know. Everything worked for me. It was fun. Like Johnny was saying, the sound design was really fun. Cinematography was really fun. Their son was very creepy. That little boy was very creepy. He did a great job. I don't know. It just everything worked for me. I really enjoyed myself watching it. Watched it late at night. I got a little spooked out. I was like, ooh.
So, Dave, just to summarize for our listeners, a tight, tense horror thriller mystery. Nick, you didn't like this movie, right?
This was a movie that I have seen before, and I had the same feeling this time around as I did the last time, where I really wanted to like this movie, but it felt like this movie was just a lot of exposition for very little payoff by the end of the story. It had its moments, and the moments it did have, like I clung on to. Like I was like, wow, this is really good, but I felt like it just didn't do itself a service to keep carrying that along. They were just like, here's a small breadcrumb of excitement, and back to exposition where we're just going to do kind of nothing and kind of walk around and blah. And I'm like, okay. And then finally they get to another breadcrumb of like, excitement. And that just kind of felt like how the whole movie was, where it strung me along thinking big, exciting moments are going to happen. And it just didn't pay off for me in the end. I saw the American version, obviously, first growing up. And I feel maybe if I saw this first before the American version, this would hold a better place in my heart. Like, I would care about this a bit more, but it was really hard for me to try to act like I had never seen the American version and watch this with new eyes.
There was just not enough momentum throughout the film to get you hooked on its mystery.
I want to hear Noah.
You want to hit us with your thoughts?
Yeah, you seemed like you hesitated a little bit, Noah.
Yeah. My thumbs up was more out of respect, honestly. for the
And
legacy
love.
that this movie has left. I felt wrong giving it a thumbs down, but I don't honestly say that I would recommend this movie to anyone. First off, I wouldn't consider this a horror. I would think this is more like a ghost story mystery. I think that's why Johnny kind of dug it a little bit more than he usually does.
Did you just invent a genre called ghost story mystery? I think you mean a proper horror
Yeah, a
film.
proper horror film, and that's why Nick didn't like it. You know, there wasn't a jump scare every 10 minutes like the U.S. version. It was just straight mystery solving for almost the whole movie until the end. In that way, I liked the movie because it felt more human. It was more focused on the characters, especially the mother and her son. I watched the US version directly after this because I just felt compelled to. And the scene where, spoiler, I'm sorry, the scene where the mother finds the son watching the videotape, knowing what's going to happen to him in 7 days, in the Japanese version, there is so much more passion and just sadness and anger in that portrayal. And in the US version, it's just more horror focused. It's just more scary. There's just more terrifying things happening. And it's hard because I wish I could marry the two. I wish, because I like the bones of the Japanese version, but it is kind of slow. It's kind of boring at times. And it kind of gets bogged down in its own lore with the psychic stuff. It reminded me a lot of Stephen King and the psychic detective. I hate the psychic detective trope. I'm sorry. It just feels like a cop out. I respect Ring, but I think I like the US version more because it's just more. It's more fun. It's more of a wild ride, and I think Ring, the Japanese one, is more of for like a mature audience. It reminds me of my mother, who watches the old version of Perry Mason instead of the new HBO Max Perry Mason because the new Max Perry Mason has more violence and sex. She's like, I don't want that sex and violence in my Perry Mason. So she watches the old school Perry Mason where it's just him solving crimes. And that's what Ring, the Japanese version, is to me. It's like the classic ghost story without all the horror. And I don't know if I like that. I mean, I respect it. I just don't know if I like it. I'm sorry.
Noah, is that line in Anchorman where Vince Vaughn looks at Ron Burgundy? He's like, "God damn it, do I hate you? But I respect you."
So are you flipping your to dislike?
Because it's inspired so many filmmakers and so many horror films. I can't give it a thumbs down. Like I can't.
I mean, it kind of sounds like you are. Like, I think you can give it a thumbs down, but still respect the legacy that it represents. Like,
I don't want to say I don't like it. I don't want to say I dislike it. I'm just saying I prefer the darker, more Hollywood version.
Everyone's seen the Japanese version except for me because I didn't do the homework. Apologies. Everyone's seen the American version. Dave, Nick, Johnny, which ones do you guys prefer?
I hear what Noah's saying, but I find it interesting because I think it's very a specific Noah perspective. But no, because when you say it's more fun, I actually think
entertaining.
Is
that
fun.
Better word for you? Entertaining?
No, because I felt like this story was a really good human story. Like this story, and a little bit of spoilers, was deep on character and family and like the tension of this fear of losing each other and this kind of redemptive discovery and telling a story of someone who was wronged, where the American version has the same bones but none of the depth. It's just flash and bang, which is kind of what I hate about horror now, which is just like, it was one of the first horror films that scared the crap out of me growing up, but like that's all it was. It was just like, let me just frighten you to death, and you don't get much from it. Where I actually felt like I walked away with something from this movie, which I appreciate more at this point in my life. So I get what you're saying, Noah, but I would argue that you'd have to be a pretty big horror fan to agree with that position consistently.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate the fact that Johnny has come full circle now? That he's not watching movies just for entertainment purposes, but he's looking to learn something greater about the human condition. Like, he's shown so much growth. I mean, can we cut to like an earlier video
more you
recording
know.
of her.
He's like, horrors from the devil.
Yeah, he's like,
You guys,
I just
watched-
need to be entertained.
watched-
I don't need anything. I don't need
you
depth.
guys are psychopaths.
anyways,
I want to say though that I completely agree with Johnny. There's definitely more depth in the Japanese version, and that's why I wish I could marry the two. Because the Japanese
Yeah,
version
I know
has
what you're
depth
saying.
and it's meditative and it makes you feel like you're a part of their family and you want them to survive. And in the American one, it's like, holy crap, there's a horse coming at me, and I'm never going to forget that scene of the horse jumping off the boat and hitting its leg and falling into the water and then hitting the blades and turning the blood. Like that's so visceral. It's so memorable. And I just wish I could put those two things together because they're perfect, but on their own, this one's kind of boring and this one lacks depth. And it sucks. And I can enjoy both, but maybe I enjoy the one with the horse more because I remember it more. I don't know if I'll remember this as well.
I remember seeing The Ring in theaters and being terrified of. I remember watching it again in Noah's Pocono house and being completely terrified.
You made pee himself.
Yeah, there are. Might have to bleep out his name. I can agree with what Johnny and Noah are saying. Not to be like super bipartisan like I always am.
This is Davey at every single podcast.
I can. Yeah, that's right.
I can see what you're saying.
Right. I can enjoy the visceralness of what Noah enjoyed about the American version, but I think solely speaking on just this movie and my viewing of it this week, I enjoyed. I needed some mystery thriller in my life, and it was fun.
it
And
just
I
caught
really-
him at the right moment.
It caught me at the right.
Those
A
planets
day
all
sooner or later, and he
David.
would have hated it. We know how David is about like his movie watching. It has to be rooted in like some deep
the moment.
childhood.
If he was wearing the perfect socks, he's gonna like
Yeah.
the movie.
I feel like there's a lot of J horror movies that America has copied
Mhm.
where there was an essence of like spine tingling, and I just felt like this movie didn't have it. Like the Japanese version of The Grudge kind of has it more than this. Like I just like that feeling that I don't need something visceral. I don't need something super gory. I just want to be left uneasy, like I want to be left off kilter.
If you had like lights off and the sound was good, I think you would have had the tingle. Like the film was good at that. Actually, it wasn't good at the jump scare and like shock you, but those moments of like tingling and pulling you in, I thought it did a good job at. Yeah, Nick is also desensitized because he just has so much input.
He also watched Hereditary like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, right.
How?
You did?
Yeah,
That
it was-
explains a
I
lot.
watched it like 3
I think it was
times.
3 times.
He watches it every night before bed.
Explains a lot. Why you would subject
Just
yourself to that. You seem to be in Noah's camp where you want to marry some of the spectacle from the American version with the subtleties and character development of the Japanese version.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. It was great discussing this film with you guys. So it sounds like, most of us like it. Nick, you were the lone holdout amongst this group.
At least I did my homework.
I
this
know
time.
you did. Yeah. And I
he
think
watched something. Yay! He watched something. It's the first time in like 10 episodes.
you've motivated me to watch this film, and I want to watch the American version as well. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I want to thank you all for coming together and reviewing Ring. This is the Spooky Screen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment if you have seen this film or the American version. If you've seen both, let us know which one you prefer. We want to thank you for listening to us again, and we hope to see you again very soon. This is Spooky Screen. Peace out.
Bye.